location, and I knew where his favorite donut shop was in New York, and I was just going to wait outside of his donut shop. And then Nikki says, "Oh, he's coming to Lithuania in a month's time or somewhere." I can't even remember where it was now. It's like, okay, I guess I'm going to Lithuania. And the next thing I know, Nikki's got this skateboard in a huge arena of like thousands of people, and he's skateboarding through this mega arena. And Jean-Claude Van Damme is there having a nervous breakdown on stage, and then I get to meet Seth Godin, which was really cool. And then we got to email afterwards and everything. It was such a weird thing of how fast it all happened, but it's really interesting to see what happens when those opportunities arise.
Let me reframe this a little, Adam, because I'd like to add something. I was running an advertising agency at the time, and now and then, actually, I think 4 or 5 times a year, we invited very inspiring people from my network to our retreats to share insights and thoughts and visions with the team. And the team took so much energy out of it, and I really loved it, and me as well. And I have this very strong opinion that whoever you'd like to meet, you can meet that person. There is no reason why you should not meet blank. And I asked everyone, who would you like to meet? And I asked Adam as well, because he's not he is not only talking to people, he's part of the team. And he said, "I'd like to meet Seth Godin." And I said, "Easy, done. Next month, Vilnius." And that's how we met at Forum One, how we got the fireside chat with Seth Godin after the main conference. And that's kind of a way that we also think in Silicon Valley. Is like, there's no reason why you shouldn't have a conversation with whoever you want to have a conversation with. There's no right. Everyone's a human. And everyone enjoys conversation. Everyone enjoys good question. Everyone enjoys being challenged. And no matter if it's Seth Godin or Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos or Tim Cook, you can meet all these people. They're meetable people, right? You can reach out for them, and you have to give them a reason, because of course a lot of people want to meet them without a reason, just because of the celebrity factor. That's nonsense. But everyone's open for a good conversation. And I know that Adam will always give a good conversation. Hi, Max, by the way. But sorry, I didn't want to I didn't want to disrupt the flow.
He's in the background. But the funny thing was, in all of that, although I was super excited to meet Seth and very well prepared, was I also met Chris Barrett there, who is a Brit who works a lot in Denmark, but we were in Lithuania, and then we became friends, and he came to do some events for me in Denmark, and then he taught my students, and then I met his daughter, and we did a double, and she's a technology TV presenter, and we did a double team up thing, and it was really cool, and my friends still talk about that because he brought a lot of value too. So sometimes it's not just the person that you want to meet, but the person sat next to the person that you want to meet is also really exciting. So yeah.
Maybe you have to rephrase your question towards Anders and Frederick, because I felt like you started that kind of how was that and how is it?
Yeah, sure. Well, what I was curious to see was, of course, you've what's really smart about you two is that whilst everybody else wanted to go on the study trip, you guys decided, oh, actually, I'm going to join in for this out of your class. And so I'm very interested to see what advantage you're going to take over the other students. And yesterday, I thought it was really cool that, especially like getting the business model canvas session from a person from Strategizer, it's a great way to learn the stuff firsthand, because for myself and Ben as teachers, oftentimes when we're presenting you with ideas, it's like secondhand ideas. We've read the book and then we'll teach it to you. But how great to know, actually, I'm just going to go straight to the source and learn it from the source. And I think it gives you a bit of a different flavor. And so I'm excited to see how that goes as we progress. That's not really a question, but that's more of an observation.
Anders, what do you think about what Adam just coined?
Yeah, so I think it was pretty cool to get the opportunity to meet Tobias yesterday, and it was pretty cool to meet a guy who was so knowledgeable about the business model canvas and the future for that development of these business models, and how the next generation of business model is going to look like. And he seems to be very competent, and I looked on his LinkedIn, and he makes all these amazing kind of stuff with aerospace and engineering. That it's pretty cool.
What's your expectation, Anders, of that whole program of these 5 days? What would when you go home on Friday, when would you call this decision a success?
I mean, I think it's already, for me, it has already been a success getting to like get knowledge from people at first hand, and like getting to know, getting to know something from people who are really invested in it and does it for a living, and like enjoy doing it and is motivated and passionate about it, the things they do.
Where would you personally see a wall that you're facing in your life over and over, where you feel like, is it about skills? Is it about your mindset? Is it about speed, or is it about whatever that conversations like this might support to overcome?
Yeah, so I think for me, I try to find things that I'm passionate about, and I'm like passionate about a lot of things, but I'm trying to tune it in and like getting to spend more time on doing the things I want to do, and to figure out what that could be and what, yeah, I find interesting in the different fields.
Okay. As we're here, you guys, so 5 people already willing to sign in earlier. I'm offering to you a free follow-up session next week, where I would like to hear from you where you are and how much all over the place is in your mind, or how much structure is in your mind on your journey and on the next decisions of your life. And there's no one too young and no one too old in this group for a long journey of next decisions. And when I was young, when I was like 12, my parents always asked me, it's like, what's the job you want to do? And I always have to give them an answer. And if I would be asked, what job are you going to have in 5 years? My answer would be, I don't know, and I don't want to know. So there's a complete change of the narrative about future of jobs and future of passion and following the passion. So if you want that, it's an offer. We can do that next week, recap on a one-on-one basis every conversation we had, and share your possibilities and your journeys and how I can also be of support. I really want this more I want this to be more than just a series of conversations. I really want this to be something that can be the impact that kicks you into a direction that makes a lot of things so clear for you. And sometimes when it's clear, you always have the feeling of, why didn't I think of that in the first place? Because it's so obvious. And when you have that feeling, you know that there is a good chance that you're on the right path.
Yes.
Frederick.
Yeah, like I'm a little bit confused about like the whole what's to do next situation. Like for me, I'm like, yeah, I'm in Odense, but then from there, it's like there's not really anything to it yet. So I think I hope to get like some new insights and maybe some inspiration to what could be interesting to do, because currently I'm just wandering around blind and trying different things, and there's something I know I'm good at, but that's not necessarily the thing that you want to do, because if you're good at it already, why not learn something different? And I somehow hope that this might be an eye-opener to learn something that I haven't learned before, or maybe try something new that I'm like, oh, this is actually quite a scary subject to start doing or something.
Nice.
And like to do it from learn something from people that's so skilled, and like Tobias yesterday, really passionate about what they do and the top level of the people who are doing the things they are. I find that like very, very interesting and very, very special.
Can you guys remember the ink pens where you put the pen into the ink and you had to draw to soak into the ink? Do you all remember this? The concept of unlearning works pretty much like this. Every morning you have a white sheet of paper, a blank sheet of paper in front of you, and the pen with the ink to write new things on it. And the ink is your experiences. And that's the concept of unlearning. Because what if nothing of what is true yesterday is still true today, but still, even if it wasn't true today, it was true yesterday and has informed you, right? It has paid into your wisdom, into your experience, into your set of experiences. And that's the ink. And every day is a data room for the next day. But that doesn't mean that you continue what you do next day or discontinue what you do next day. But it always means every day is a data room. Every day informs the ink in your pen what to put on the blank paper next day. And that's pretty much the concept of unlearn. I don't want you to pretend you don't know, because you can't pretend you don't know. You can't pretend you don't care. You can't pretend you care. You can't lie to yourself. But when you understand that everything that happens is just pieces of information, usually of things that work or things that don't work, it's pretty binary. Because life is a series of decisions, and some lead you somewhere, and some lead you nowhere, and some you know later where it led you. And that's just these pieces of information that makes the ink. And just pretend every day that, or see every day as data room, not meandering, not knowing. It's not about not knowing where you're going. It's not about being overwhelmed with options. It's about being a sponge in the data room and taking in all this information. And when you let go of the force and the pressure of I have to decide what I'm doing next, it's way easier that it will come to you rather than it be pushed out of you. Does that make sense for you?
Yes.
Ben, what do you think? I'm curious about your challenges and what you expect and what you hope to.
I think I have done most of my challenges in my life. But I think my experience is always to grab the chance and change direction. I have changed direction many times. I started as a skilled jeweler, then I started building houses, then I worked at a yard as a welder, shipbuilder, and now for the last 30 years I've been teaching all my skills. So I have been changing a lot of my.
Do you have a pattern? Do we have like every 5 years or every 10 years? I feel like I have to reinvent myself, or this is what happens? Or is
until I started teaching, I changed every 5 years, and that was it was most every 5 years. 5 years as a jeweler, 4 years as apprentice, and then as a skilled jeweler, and then I changed to shipbuilding. And we can say that was something else, big oil tankers and so on.
Nice.
So
yeah,
yes,
maybe the question is within the 30 years, is that 30 years of being a teacher, right? 30 years of being in that education system.
Yes.
Then go in, zoom into the 30 years. What's your frequency of major changes in that period of your life?
I think I have been in the same field, but also a lot of changing. What do we call it? We in Denmark we say alpha groups. Help me. What do we call alpha groups in English? So you are and that have been a big help in my teaching. Groups for instance, one group was Alunor, that was Aluminium Society of the Nordic countries, and we were exchanging students, and that was a great experience. So, and one of your bullets or hashtags last time was don't work for money, work for interest. And that's what I have been doing.
Okay, good. I'm psyched that you're here, that you're open to this experiment, and I hope you can also challenge things where you feel like I disagree. It's good to have that kind of conversation. As I said, you're not supposed to sit still without any response, any stretching and challenging of the speakers. So we have 5 minutes to go. Yannis, how about you? You came in a little after I asked the question. That was, what's your social agenda? What's your, when you close Zoom for this week on Friday after our series of conversations, when would you call this a success? When would you call this a good experience?
I think currently I'm quite drastically changing peer groups. So while I've been quite actively involved with my team of organizers for TEDx Heidelberg, and they're incredibly plenty of students, but also people from the industry, companies like SAP and so on, but many young, struggling, searching for a place in life, and plenty of distractions around them. And so what I realized is I'm also part of this bubble of being confronted with many distractions and diving into way too many topics at once, instead of basically pursuing one interest and seeing, okay, does it work or is it a failure? And if you kind of try everything at once, in the end, you're being inspired by plenty of topics, but in the end, you never find out, do I succeed or not? Or you rather might take the easy route and jump to the next topic before you even realize, could I have been successful? So since I kind of had that realization, I think I'm trying to reduce the number of distractions in my life and rather focus on so I have one major project I'm currently heavily diving into, which is all about kind of solving the problem of loneliness for people in society. Because what I learned is I work best with human connections and making those connections for others. And so my social agenda for this is, I think, actually I didn't expect Adam to be in here. I think both you and Adam, I've from the distance already experienced you both being extremely skilled in making meaningful connections between others. And so maybe even more valuable than the people we meet while having this tour is, I think it's already a gift observing people like the two of you asking questions, guiding discussions, and learning from people with your experience.
Nice. Coming back to the like this ocean of ideas that you're in, and always reminds me to myself, where I felt like, okay, I know what you're saying, I know how you're feeling. There's so many things, and then there's another thing that could be done or should be done, and there's so many, and then you know that there are entrepreneurs who build, and then there are entrepreneurs who keep, and I feel like this is the journey of entrepreneurs who build rather than entrepreneurs who keep. And then you just realize, okay, I can only do so many things, but you keep on building but never keeping. You always get attracted when growing something once it's at the point where you feel like I can contribute to radical growth and change anymore. You have to let go and let someone else continue. But what you can also do is kind of work with the fact that you live in an ocean of ideas and make an idea cafe where you invite people and just gift them with your ideas and where to go.